The trailer for Season 3, aka the final season of The Bad Batch, was officially unveiled this week, with the main plot, unsurprisingly, looking to be the Batch attempting to save Omega from the Empire on Mount Tantus. Some first impressions from the trailer that we can take away is that the CGI budget seems to have improved quite a bit, which is always a plus. And seeing as we'll be getting quite a number of episodes of just the Batch fighting off the Empire with Omega only being included in separate scenes back on Tantus, then I'm sure this will no doubt make everyone happy who complained and never really liked Omega being part of the Batch, feeling that she was either holding them back or they would just spend half the season on babysitting duty. Regardless of your opinion here, it looks like this won't be the case in this season, and instead we'll just be seeing more Clone on Imperial action with a lot of cameos, and this brings us to the main spotlight of this trailer. And that is, of course, Asajj Ventress' apparent return from death. Which, yes, if you don't know, Asaaj did end up dying in the 2015 novel Dark Disciple, and well, I've got some serious mixed feelings about her death now being potentially retconned. On one hand, when seeing the trailer for the first time, I initially was excited to see Asaaj again, especially to look upon her yellow saber in animated form was pretty cool. And well, Asaaj as a character is cool in her own right too. But the more I start to think about it, I've realized I don't like this retcon, as not only does it feel random and unnecessary, but also I see them using this as some kind of crutch to potentially keep Asaaj alive even after this series. Probably just to get her to show up in live action in, say, I don't know, Ahsoka Season 2, which would only make things even more messy lore-wise, like with Asaaj being alive throughout the events of the original trilogy now and never once running into the Empire and somehow surviving. We've already got issues of Ahsoka, Baylan, and Shin managing to do this, and now possibly the same story with Asaaj now? I don't know about that. Now, lore problems aside, I'm also not crazy about the increasing fad of bringing dead characters back to life, as this is starting to lessen the consequence of death when characters now can, keep on coming back just for the fan service. Like, I don't know, to me, death has to mean something, and I think this is where me and Dave Filoni differ on opinions. As not to mention, this is also the constant theme of Filoni not respecting anybody else's work and wanting to retcon anything and everything that happens in the books. All on account that he just feels like it, and it's getting real old real fast now. It's honestly got to the point where I don't even read the new canon books because I figure, what's the point? They're probably gonna be retconned by Filoni in the future anyway, so yeah. And that's the thing, I really like Dark Disciple, and Asaaj had a good death in it. As in the book, she dies in the Clone Wars by the hands of Dooku, sacrificing herself to save her lover Quinlan Vos. It was a very emotional scene, even more so Asaaj's funeral. As months after her death, she's later put to rest on Dathomir where her body turns to mist, and the Night Sister spirits can be heard welcoming her to the afterlife. So naturally, after all of that, to see Asaaj now running around in Season 3 of The Bad Batch all willy-nilly as if nothing had happened is a huge WTF moment. That said, while I don't like the decision of them retconning Asaaj's death, it will still depend a lot on how they go about retconning it. The execution, that's what I'm talking about, as if done right, then maybe I can be fine with it. I mean, after all, when we all first heard about Maul coming back in the Clone Wars after, being sliced in half in Phantom Menace, many of us had our reservations about it, and fortunately the show did manage to handle it well enough to where we were able to accept it. Then again, there was never really technically confirmation about Maul dying, unlike Asajj. And you know how these things go, unless we actually see the person 100% confirmed to be dead on screen, then there's always hope that they'll be able to come back later on in some way. But that's not the case of Asajj. She was confirmed to be dead. She was dead for months and months, and then we had her funeral, where her body turned into mist, like I just said. So unless this is just a clone of Asajj and not the real one, that's a different story. But knowing Lucasfilm Disney, they'll probably just say that she was brought back to life via Night Sister magic and call it a day. Especially after seeing their strange comment that they made on StarWars.com, where they even went as far as to say that Asajj only apparently died in Dark Disciple, which is already clear as day that Filoni is once again retconning another book. Again, the execution is going to matter a lot here. If done well, then sure, but if not, then myself and other fans just won't buy what they're selling here. And seeing Lucasfilm Disney's recent track record, let's just say I'm not holding my hopes, even if I will be trying to go into this with an open mind. Regardless, whatever my opinion will end up being with Asajj, I really hope it doesn't take away from the rest of the Bad Batch Season 3, as I really did like Season 2 a lot. There were quite a few bangers in there. So naturally, I'm looking forward to Season 3, especially how they'll end Crosshair's story on Tantus. So, best worst case scenario, even if they do screw the pooch on Asajj's death being retconned, she'll only be in an episode or two at most and then leave to go do her own thing, and maybe being killed off, who knows. Letting us then focus only on the batch and everything juicy happening on Tantus. I can only hope so. Come on Lucasfilm, don't fail me now. N7 out.